Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. My name is Perry Coyne, and I want to thank you for joining our webinar on 6-packs are for the fridge and vacuums are for the floor. We have Andy Smith, who is our inside sales manager, and David Wilcox, who will be answering technical questions in the Q&A box in the webinar. Again, my name is Perry Coyne. I'm the Director of Marketing for Aspen Avionics. So with that, Andy, I'm going to ask you to take it away.
Thank you, Perry, for everything. I'm here with Dave Wilcox. He's going to be answering your questions on the other side. So like Perry said, hit that Q&A button and type anything in. This is my contact information. Give me an email if you have any questions or things that you want to discuss after the webinar, something specific to your aircraft or your situation or anything that we weren't able to address with the question and answers with Dave on the other side. Quick agenda here. I'm going to do a quick review of the Max series displays, how and why the Max displays allow you to remove your attitude. I'm going to talk quickly about the 3100 Autopilot pricing, and then we're going to open it up to a question and answer session at the end so that we can get everything covered. So here we go. I'm going to go quickly through some of these items just because we did a webinar a few months ago that dives deep down into these functions and why the Max is superior to the legacy stuff. But the Max unit is brand new hardware. So new screen, boards, processor, air data computer, new glass, graphics card, everything is brand new. It is a plug and play installation, so no additional wiring is required. And there's several visual enhancements with what we could do with the processor and the color gradients, and also the the font enlargement windows. Some of the big items I have down at the red, and this is going to help us and help you really kind of understand why we can get rid of your attitude gyro now out of that panel, is that the new backup battery that we have has an increased capacity and the dual aiding AHRS, and I'll go over that in more detail a little bit later. Following on, a couple of the other added features is the audio interface. So you're going to get voice call outs through your audio panel rather than just a tone, and that's on the altitude minimums, synthetic vision as far as terrain and obstacle warnings, and there's airspeed. I mentioned the font enlargement window on that you get, and a much smoother display as far as the refresh rate is much better. On the MFD side, we added METAR flags, AGL readouts, chart countdown timers, and because of the battery in the MFD as well, and also the dual aiding AHRS, when you add the MFD 1000, you can actually eliminate all your instruments out of your panel and really clean that up. And I do have a slide later on about that. But like I said, there is a full, I think we spent an hour on it earlier this year, learning about how the Max is much more beneficial. So here we go here. So the new extended duration battery, it meets the FAA requirements for the emergency backup battery so that it meets the requirements. And I believe it's 30 minutes. So I can guarantee you 30 minutes in all conditions. And that's the FAA requirement that we meet, right? That and in combination with the dual aiding AHRS, which is, I'll go into detail here in the next slide. And the installation is accomplished in accordance with the FAA equivalent level of safety, or ELOS memo, that you can look up right there. So we proved that the battery, in combination with the battery, and I shouldn't say proved, but certified that in combination with the extended duration battery and the dual aiding AHRS, we are able to provide an equivalent level of safety as if the attitude gyro remained in the panel. And for the dealers out there that are on here, refer to the Appendix P in the installation manual. Rev Charlie Lima is the latest one that came out about a month ago, and it really spells it out to you there. So we just added another appendix to really give you good clarification on how you're going to install this and how you can sign it off. and everything. So take a gander at that. The new dual aiding AHRs. So in the legacy displays, we were solely dependent on pitot and static input to derive our attitude and heading system, right? So in the event of a failure of pitot, you would get what you see on the right side here, is you get red X's, and it happens at the it happens at the worst time, right? So that was a single point failure. So there was a requirement that we needed to keep the attitude and the airspeed and altimeter in there, right? Now with the max unit, now this, in my opinion, this dual aiding AHRs is actually the single most significant upgrade to the max system that we have done. So in the event of a pitot failure, now it could be blockage, ice, water, a kink, the tube popped off, whatever, the hose popped off. In the event that happens, what the unit does is then references the GPS ground speed as it's valid to keep the attitude and everything valid, and you don't get the red X's of doom. I had a customer tell me one time. Now, obviously, you're going to lose your airspeed tape because there is going to be no pitot input, but you will continue to have the ground speed displayed below the airspeed tape. You can see it over there underneath the true airspeed on the left-hand side, in order to continue safely flying in the event of a loss. So one of the questions was, well, when I get a pitot blockage, what do I see and what do I do in the event of a blockage? Well, first off, on the right hand side, you are going to see a check Pitot Heat message initially, and that's because most of the time a blockage comes from icing. So we're going to want you to flip on your Pitot Heat. If the condition does not improve to within tolerances, what it's going to, the PFD is going to go into what's called an attitude degraded mode, and this is when you're going to lose your airspeed tape, but that's all you're going to lose, right? And you are going to get this enunciation. At that point, you need to follow what's in the flight manual supplement, which is this 3.2.2 excerpt right here, and follow that to figure out why you have lost pitot input. And then there's also another blurb down here in the 6.1 of what is recommended, suggested that you need to do in this event. So and that's out of the pilot's the pilot guide that you have. All right, for the two systems, for the 2000 and 2500 system, like I said before, because both of the units now have that extended duration battery, and both of the units, now this is the max systems, correct? So now both the systems have that extended duration, and both of them have that extended duration battery and dual AHRs. I'm sorry, I'm a little flustered from the technical difficulties we started out with. What the certification allows is that you can remove all your backups. So if you're looking to clean up the panel completely, you can remove your attitude, airspeed, altimeter, turn and back. I mean, and then VSI, all the backups, all the analog gauges, and literally put 3 screens across there, or even 2, and it looks really clean. All the new trade to new max units and all the new MFDs, PFDs, and E5s come with this new extended duration battery. So all new purchases from here on out, well, for the last 9 months really, have these batteries in them, and it will allow you to remove that attitude if you desire on a single screen, and then of course all your stuff on a dual screen. Now for the legacy guys, we did make it, and we do carry the certification where if you have an external backup battery in a 2000 system on your MFD 1000, and you want to convert it to an internal battery, we do have a pathway for you, and it carries the same certification with the legacy stuff. You can remove your airspeed and altimeter, but keep your attitude in the panel. But you can do away with that switch in your panel and the extra placarding, and then of course that big large battery that's mounted somewhere in your aircraft that can go away. And there is a path for that. And you'll need to reach out to your dealer or one of us, and there's a couple different ways we can go with that. So reach out to us and we can talk about that if that's something you're interested in. So system and display requirements. Just speaking on the battery side of it, is it must be a -021 display, and that's the last 3 digits of a larger part number, right? So as long as your display has on a single tube installation, as long as it has the -21 part number, you are legal to remove your attitude out of your panel and replace it with a turn coordinator. So in a single tube installation, you are required to have a turn and bank or turn coordinator, airspeed and altimeter still need to be retained as part of the certification in the pilot's primary field of view right there, right? So all the displays we started shipping around 2020, the end of last year. If you have any sort of questions, I mean, you can always pull the unit out and look at it, but if you wanted to reach out to us, we could probably figure out what part number you have and kind of give you an idea, so that when you go and talk to your shop and or want to remove the attitude in your vacuum system, you're covered, and we can make sure that it's the -21. In removing if you make the choice to remove the attitude, be aware that you may need an EA 100, which would provide the pitch and roll reference to your King and Sentry autopilots to function correctly. So that may be part of the equation as well. If you have a Genesis or S-Tech autopilot, that runs off of the turn coordinator, so that's good to go, and you can just remove it and continue to go, because they are a rate-based autopilot rather than an attitude-based like the King and Sentry. I'm going to talk quickly. Again, I'm going to touch bases real quick on this Genesis 3100 autopilot interface and capabilities. We did, right before Oshkosh, we did a webinar that, again, dove deep into the different functionalities and how to do it. And that is available. So if you are one of the customers that want more information about this, or thinking about adding a PFD to your autopilot or vice versa, watch that webinar. It's going to have a lot more information than what I'm going to throw at you right now. So with the ProMax unit in the 2.11 software, which is the standard shipping software, and dealers also can do an in the field upgrade to your PFD, you're going to get the indicated airspeed mode, the envelope protection, altitude and airspeed pre-select, and also we're going to pass through all the GPS information directly through our display. So you actually get rid of that switch that may or may not be installed depending on your configuration in your aircraft, right? And you still can get flight director information, but you will need the ST670 and ACU2 to get that information over to the PFD. And that's just with, I want to call it your base unit, right? That's just your standard unit, factory issued 2.11 software. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more, we do have an unlock or a feature unlock card that is available. You're going to get, of course, all the standard stuff with the 2.11, but everything really becomes digital, right? So your flight director all becomes a digitally interfaced. You're going to get mode enunciation, so you can see that at the top. So it's going to tell you how your autopilot mode enunciations. You're going to get vertical speed and vertical speed select. So it is worth it. So the full meal deal, getting the unlock gives you everything. The unlock is currently priced at $19.95 as a list price. which is fair compared to what you may you see out there. All right, pricing and availability. So for the guys out there that don't have a system in their aircraft right now and are looking to upgrade and kind of weighing out the options and gathering information right now, a single tube Pro Max. Now it's right now it's $89.95. Normal list is $99.95. These prices are webinar tied to the webinar. They are what we did for Oshkosh, but that promotion did end 2 weeks ago at the middle. But we've allowed, or the powers that be have allowed us to give this promotion to you guys that attended the webinar, because we do appreciate you guys are here. The 2000 Max is $13,995. Normal pricing on that is $15,995. So it's a save $2,000 on that. And the 2500 Grand Poobah three screen display system is $17,495. Normal list on that is $19.95. So super simple. Save $1,000 on a Pro 1000, save $2,000 on the 2000 system, and save $2,500 on a 2500 system. I do want to say that all Pro Max new purchases do come with synthetic vision, as well as any trade to new purchases that you guys have out there come with synthetic vision on all the screens. As part of our system pricing, we recognize that the 2000 and 2500 systems are premium systems with the multi-tube and several different functionalities. They do include the ADS-B unlock. So for a compatible ADS-B in solution, we can display traffic and weather. That is included. AOA is included on one of the screens, so you put it on your PFD or MFD 1000. I generally suggest putting it on the MFD 1000 because the display is a little bit bigger if you have that luxury of having two screens. And of course, synthetic vision is included across the board. So the trade up pricing for guys that have existing legacy stuff. This is new pricing. It has come down over the last month or so. It's not as aggressive, or not as crazy as what we did at Oshkosh, but this is the new standard pricing for the Max upgrades for all the different systems that are out there for the legacy guys. So single screen $39.95, dual $64.95, triple $79.95. For you VFR and pilot guys out there, I want to take that next step, is $49.95. And then the E5 to the Pro Max jump. Now I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on this one. So for all you guys out there, there's a lot of you out there, but that have put the E5 in and have removed your vacuum system and removed your attitude out of the panel, but really wanted the benefits of a Max, but wanted the benefits of removing your vacuum with the weight and the performance and whatnot. Now you have the opportunity to go up to the Pro Max without having to put a bunch of either another attitude in there or the vacuum system back in your aircraft. So you can now upgrade to the Pro Max without doing a whole bunch of surgery on your panel and putting some weight back in that you've been that you got rid of. So for the guys, for the individuals out there that were early adopters and got some of the early ones, so this is most, so half of 2019 and then most of 2020. If you got your Max units during that time frame, they came as either a -011 or -021 display, or excuse me, 012-12 display. Those would need to be modified to a -21 display. So let me explain. The -11 display is your PFD. So if you have a single tube Max display that you took delivery on prior to end of last year, end of 2020, you most likely have a -11, and we could be able to find that out for you. The -12 displays are for the guys, that's an MFD with the external battery. So if you upgraded to a max and you still have an external battery, but you want to modify it and do the internal battery and get rid of that switch in those batteries, or that external battery, and modify it to a dash 2.1 display with that new internal battery, it is a $595 modification. That is done in the field by your dealer. We send them a kit. There's a little software, and also, of course, the battery goes in there in the software. We do have I believe, a tech note, as well as a nice video that one of our field service engineers put together for you dealers out there to make sure that no step is missed. But it is fairly simple and straightforward. Last but not least, our current promotions that are going. So most of you dealers have seen this. Some of your customers have seen this. We sent it out. We do have a good number of remanufactured units, although they are limited, but we have a good number of them. So we want to do a really big push to get these out there if you guys want them, need them out there. So on the class 3 stuff, there's the pricing. Remanufactured class 3 PFD is $8,000, which is just an insane price. So if you're ready to put glass in any of your class 3 aircraft, now is the time, right? If you want to bounce up to a 2000 system, we're pricing it at $13,995. Now this does come with the extended duration battery in the MFD. With that extended duration battery in the MFD 1000, it gives you the ability to remove your airspeed and altimeter, and but you do have to keep an attitude in your panel in the class 3 stuff. On the MFD 1000, you will have the ability to display synthetic vision, as well as that ADS-B integration will be included at that price point for a compatible in solution that you guys have. For the class 1 and 2 stuff, we have the remanufactured Legacy Pro units at the $59.95 price point. Again, it's a screaming deal for guys that want to get glass in and want to have all the capabilities of a true PFD, right? And have all the functionalities of a PFD at $59.95. We do have repricing on a new Pro H, so helicopter versions. I believe they were at a little over $15,000, $15,195, I believe was the price. We have reduced it down to $11,995, and the remanufactured Pro H's again at a silly $79.95 price point. I do want to point out the only real big difference between the two is, yeah, they are remanufactured, but they go through the same testing, the same certification, the same blessing. You get a new ACU and a new RSM, new connector kits, all that's new. The only thing that is technically remanufactured is the display, but they do pass all the same testing and stringent requirements that we have on new products. The remanufactured stuff has to go through the same testing before we send them out. And the remanufacturing comes out of the factory with a 1-year warranty rather than a new 2-year warranty is on the new stuff. So again, my name is Andy Smith. And so it says inside sales manager. I know I went quick because I got a little flustered because the beginning was a little rough, but if you have any questions or comments or concerns or anything like that, this is my contact. It's the best way to get a hold of me. Please feel free to email me any questions, and then I can even get on the phone with you and we can talk through some different considerations you have. So at this point, I'm going to punt it back to Perry, and you guys can go from there.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks a lot, Andy. And I know it gets kind of people get a little flustered when we have little technical difficulties at the beginning of the webinar. We certainly apologize for that. But having said that, I'm going to invite Dave Wilcox, who's been answering questions in the Q&A tool in Zoom. And so, Mike, and there was also a couple of questions that came in on the chat that if you want to take a look at that and address those, but I think it's beneficial for those who did not, weren't able to submit a question or just actually listening on the phone, be able to use the answers. So Dave, you can take it away.
All right. Most of these questions that came in were asking about how do they know what their, if they have the -011, -012, or if they've got the newer -021 part number. The easiest way to go about this is to look in your logbooks. There would have been an entry made in your logbooks when the max upgrade was performed originally. And if it ever got exchanged out between then and now, they would have updated the logbook to reflect the new part number. So that we can do that. So I'll eliminate a bunch of these for that question in particular. So, okay, so a few of these questions were if they add an electronic attitude indicator and they have the -021 part number, can they remove their current attitude indicator? The answer to that is yes, you can. Some of these were, again, going through asking if I installed it at this time frame, do I have the new one or the old one? They address that. Lots of questions on the GFC 500. Unfortunately, no, not at this time. It's a CAN bus autopilot. It'll only work with a G5 or a GI 275 from Garmin. Nobody else in the industry really uses a CAN bus. So that is a no-go for at least for the time being. So we'll see what happens in the future. Can you get, if you have a max that is a -011 or the -012 with the extended or the external battery, they want to know, can this be done in the field at their installer? The answer to that is yes, you can. There is a kit that they can purchase. It's around $500 or $600, and they can put a new label on it and replace the battery in it right there at the shop. So you don't have to send that back to Aspen to have that done. So about the extended battery and the removal of the attitude, and then guys talking about now with the Max system with the dual aiding AHRs, if they're doing stalls or full stall landings or practicing stalls and doing full stall landings, will that eliminate that problem? Well, the thing is to not lose any of that information, you have to be flying IFR maneuvers. Once you start doing aggressive maneuvers, you can still cause that to red X without pitot input. So keep that in mind as well. It'll go into what they call a degraded mode, which means as long as you're flying our IFR maneuvers, you'll still be good. You're not going to lose all that pertinent information. A bunch of these a handful of these were about pricing. I referred all those guys to sales. They are, like Andy said, they are currently running some promotions. So I would get with those guys and get the most current pricing. The same thing with the E5 questions, upgrading to the Max. I believe the pricing that was on these questions was the old pricing or the Max upgrade pricing, which I don't believe that is correct. I think it is a different pricing. So maybe Andy can chime in on that one. And about the expiration of the batteries. So, and that's pretty much it. Again, a lot of these were redundant, nothing new outside of what I just mentioned.
So I'll comment real quick is that the pricing that you did see here with on the Max upgrades or the trade to new pricing, as well as the new, for virgin installs, new kits and everything, that is the current pricing that we're giving you guys. So what you saw on here is what it is, and feel free to reach out to me and I can clarify anything like that or any package deals that we can put together for you guys.
Hey, Andy, also getting some questions on if they're just wanting to add an MFD 1000, what kind of pricing structure do we have to offer them currently?
All right, so if you're going from a legacy single tube installation to a 2000 Max system, the price on that is $10,995 is the normal list price on that. And that includes a brand new field or a brand new MFD, of course, a trade to new PFD. And then that package also includes ADS-B, unlock, AOA, and the synthetic vision for both displays there. So that is like buying a new system.
All right, I'm just checking to see what else that's coming in here. Some pricing on the EA 100 adapter. Andy, do you have that off the top of your head?
Yeah, it depends on kind of on the situation for you. The normal list price is $3,075.
Okay. And then another one from maybe you already addressed this, and I apologize. I was multitasking, but the gentleman is asking if he had a 1000 Pro Max, what's it cost to add a MFD 1000?
So MFD 1000, he already has a Pro Max, and he wants to add an MFD 1000 to it. Is $79.95 is the list price on that.
Okay, and then here's another one from Michael Adams, and maybe Dave, you can answer this as well, but he's asking, are the -011 and -021 identical except for the battery? Wondering if the -011 has the dual AHRS and Red X benefits, I guess the dual aiding AHRS.
Yeah, so I'll speak to that. So all new Max displays have that dual aiding AHRS regardless of the battery configuration. So regardless if it's a -11 or a -21 or a -12, you do get that benefit of having the dual aiding AHRS. What the -021 battery gives you is the extended duration battery, which is, it carries the same certification as that external battery that is no longer available. So yes, in short, all Max units, regardless of the dash number, have the dual aiding AHRS capability and the, preventing the Red X. So for the D-Bond, so the databases are completely different between the GTN 650 and the Aspen product. Technically, Dave's going to type your answer, but technically you don't have to have keep the database current in the Aspen, just your navigator.
That's correct. Yeah, you don't need to, there's no requirement to update the database on the Aspen unless you're buying a lot of IFR. Do an update maybe once a year. Again, there's no requirement to update it, so don't feel like you have to go spend the money if you don't want to. Our guys do it every 28 days, but they fly a lot.
So Mike Haley, I hope I answered your question directly, but you can add a second MFD 1000 Max. The price is at $79.95. Reach out to me directly after this and maybe we'll put a package together for you.
All right, I'm not seeing any more questions coming through at this particular point in time. Dave, do you see anything else coming in? Okay.
No, I think I gave a couple of guys the wrong email address for sales. Andy, what is the email that customers can email with pricing questions?
Just have them route them through me, and then that way I can handle it. And make sure you say you're on the webinar. I'll close this if you guys are seeing this, but it's just andy.smith@Aspen Avionics. Is probably the best, quickest way to get a response. Otherwise, you can go through the website and put in a general info request for sales, and that does go into our system. But just email me and I'll be able to I'll get to you probably either today or first thing tomorrow morning.
Andy, somebody was asking about the Genesis pricing that you had up there.
So the unlock for the full meal deal, which gives you the mode enunciations, the vertical speed select, altitude pre-select, the indicated airspeed hold, the envelope protection, the airspeed pre-select, and digital flight director, right? That unlock is $1,995, $2,000. But make sure that the 3100, you do need the 1.4 software. So make sure your airframe is available and certified for the 1.4 software before going down that road. And your dealer and or a Genesis rep could probably help you with that.
All righty. I'm gonna just totally mess up George's last name. Can you answer if his navigator produces terrain and RO alerts? Will the Aspen Max also produce the RO alerts?
Yes, but yeah, I'm positive that you can go into the pilot selectable menu and you can mute those alerts in the Aspen, because they're both going through an unswitched, unmuted input to the audio panel.
I got one, Randall Lowe. Give me an email, shoot me an email, and I'll put something together with you. We need to talk about your configuration and everything like that, and some considerations about the mall. So yeah, definitely shoot me an email and I'll take care of you.
Does the approval to remove legacy vacuum system attitude indicator extend to those installations that use the attitude indicator for autopilot follow-up? There is no approval with our STC to remove the vacuum system. And the legacy systems still require a backup attitude indicator. So you would have to go to the max to be able to get rid of the backup attitude indicator. And if you're wanting that system, the Aspen Max system, to provide that pitch and roll stabilization to the autopilot, the legacy autopilots, you would then need to install an EA100.
There's one question on the chat that I wanted to address, and one of those was from John Russell. Do we have training materials we can recommend? And the answer to that is yes, John. We actually, on our website, there's a link called the Pilot Learning Center, and it's right below our pictures of our displays, and that is actually an interactive learning center on the Pro Max system, from everything from basic functions to pre-flight, in-flight configurations, post-flight, and shutdown. So that's a really great tool that you can use to get yourself more familiar with the Aspen Max system. Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining today. And again, we'll be putting together a recording of this particular webinar and have it posted on our Evolution video library. It should be up there later today, or you can email me personally, and my name is Perry, spelled P as in Papa, ERRI .coin, COYN as November, E as in Echo, at aspenavionics.com, and I'm happy to provide you a link as well. Again, thanks for joining us. Andy and Dave, do you have anything else you want to add before we sign off?
I do not. I'm still going to continue to answer these Q&As that are coming through right here before I log off. So ProMax has a top key that toggles through 3 options. On my ProMax 2000, the PFD only shows 2 options. One unlock feature is missing in order to make it 3 selections. So every time you add, so if you were to add just ADSB or just synthetic visions, then that top line select key will have 2 options, page 1 and page 2. If you have both ADSB and synthetic vision or enhanced hazard awareness, then you would have 3 selections on that button. So you have page 3. So it would toggle through page 1, page 2, and page 3.
Thanks for joining again. Check later today on the Evolution video library. There's a link on the homepage right there, and you can be able to pull down the recording of today's webinar, less the confusion we had in the beginning. So again, thanks for coming, and we will talk to you soon. Take care now.